Have you ever wondered why, in the universe of K-pop where visuals, talent, and charisma clash every single day, the conversation about the best body, the strongest build, the most impressive muscles somehow always circles back to BTS? Why is it that 7 men who began with nothing but stubborn passion became the ultimate blueprint of discipline and physical evolution? Tonight, on Jungkook Today, we're diving straight into the ranking ARMY has argued about for years, loudly, passionately, and sometimes a little too honestly. But this isn't just about muscles. This is about the story behind each body, the late-night practices, the tours that pushed them to the edge, the diets they hated, the injuries they hid, the resilience they sharpened. Because every shoulder line, every sculpted arm, every defined back tells a chapter of their journey. So, when ARMY voted, what were they really choosing? The biggest muscles, the sharpest definition, the hottest stage body, or the emotional weight behind each transformation? That's the mystery we're unlocking tonight. From the golden maknae whose physique feels carved by fate, to the unexpected dark horses whose strength surprises even longtime fans, to the members whose bodies became living testimonies of survival, this countdown will make you see BTS through a completely different lens. And trust me, once we enter number 7, things only get deeper, more shocking, and more human. Welcome to Jungkook Today, and let's begin. Number 7. Jhope, the hidden strength behind the sunshine. When you think of Jhope, the first images that probably flash in your mind are his bright smile, his explosive dance moves, his effortless swag, and the kind of charisma that lights up a room before he even opens his mouth. But what most people fail to realize, at least until they see him rehearsing shirtless, or until the military photos dropped, or until that one moment he flexed during practice, and ARMY collectively screamed, is that Jhope's body tells a story far deeper than his cheerful persona. His physique is the quiet type of strength, the kind that doesn't ask for attention but naturally earns respect when you finally notice it. Jhope's muscles were not built through heavy bulking or chasing aesthetic perfection. They were shaped through years of relentless dance training, the kind that pushes a human body to the edge without mercy. His core strength is unreal, the kind you only get when you've spent more hours in practice rooms than you have in your own bed. Every isolating movement, every jump, every sharp transition, those carved the lines in his abdomen long before anyone cared to look closely. And the truth is, dancers like him develop muscles differently, the kind that's long, lean, explosive, and engineered for endurance rather than posing. That's why when ARMY talks about Jhope's body, it's never just, oh, he looks good. It's always followed by a moment of realization, wait, how is he this strong? And that realization hits even harder when you remember that behind every performance is his role as BTS's main dance engine. The member who sets the standard, the one who goes harder than the music demands, the one who practices until sweat pours like rain, the one who pushes everyone else to polish their moves until they shine. His shoulders, though not exaggerated in width, are the kind that carry responsibility, literal posture built from years of leading choreography. His arms, though slimmer than some members, have the sharp tone of someone who relies on precision. His back, a hidden masterpiece, is sculpted by countless hours of mastering formations, turns, and footwork that would break a less disciplined person. And the true emotional punch? Jhope never brags about any of it. He never tries to show off, never flexes for cameras, never fights for attention. His build is an extension of his character, subtle, consistent, hard-working, dependable, quietly powerful. The kind of strength that doesn't shout, it simply exists, unshakable. ARMY often describes him as the sunshine, but real fans know this sunshine comes from fire-burning discipline, burning passion, burning commitment. That's why seeing him in military uniform hit differently. Suddenly, people noticed the strong upper body, the refined arms, the stable posture. The way he carried gear like it weighed nothing. It was like the world finally understood what ARMY had been whispering for years. Jhope isn't just bright, he's built, he's sharp, he's athletic, in a way that feels natural and earned, not forced. His physique is not the loudest in BTS, but it is one of the most meaningful, a testament to years of devotion to his craft, years of shaping his body to match the rhythm of the life he chose. And maybe that's why ARMY ranked him here. Not because he's the least muscular, but because his strength is the kind you only see when you're truly paying attention. The more you look, the more layers you uncover, and the more you realize just how powerful he actually is. Number 6. Jimin, the beautiful strength behind the grace. If you've followed BTS long enough, you know that Jimin's presence isn't something you simply see, it's something you feel. He walks into a room and suddenly everything softens, everything turns cinematic, everything becomes a little more dramatic than it was a moment ago. But behind that angelic aura, behind the ethereal movements, behind the affectionate smiles that make people melt without warning, lies a body that has been through more discipline, pain, and transformation than most people recognize at first glance. Jimin's muscles aren't the bulky type. They're the sculpted kind, sharp lines, elegant proportions, and a gracefulness that only someone who trained in contemporary and ballet can possess. His strength is the type that grips you slowly, the kind that reveals itself the longer you stare. The curve of his shoulders that broadened over the years, the defined chest that fans still remember from the fake love era, the subtle but undeniable V-line that once broke the internet, and the tightly packed abs that became legendary in the early practice videos. But the story of Jimin's physique isn't about vanity, it's about evolution. When BTS debuted, Jimin's muscles were almost a metaphor for his mindset. He pushed himself endlessly, trained obsessively, and fought to perfect everything he touched. He bulked up so much for debut that his torso looked like he had built armor for himself, a shield to prove he belonged in the lineup he admired so deeply. Over time, he reshaped that armor into something more balanced, more fluid, more truly him. His body became an instrument flexible, strong, expressive, and that transformation didn't happen easily. There were sleepless nights, moments he questioned himself, days he fell into exhaustion so deep it hurt to breathe. He has admitted more than once that he pushes himself harder than anyone else pushes him, and you can see that truth carved into every line of muscle he's built. What makes Jimin's physique so unique is that it's not purely aesthetic. It's deeply emotional. You can almost read his story through the way his frame changed over time. His earlier build reflected insecurity, wanting to prove he deserved the stage. His later build reflected acceptance, knowing he already does. And every era in between was a negotiation between his heart and his craft. On stage, this becomes even more obvious. His strength isn't loud or aggressive, it's controlled, deliberate, poetic. Watch him perform Lie, Serendipity, or Black Swan, and you'll realize his muscles don't just move, they speak. They translate emotion into motion. They turn choreography into storytelling. Even ARMY, who aren't dancers, can sense how much power lies beneath his softness. Offstage, Jimin's build carries a different warmth. He moves with a gentleness that hides how incredibly strong he really is. The way he lifts members during playful moments, the tight hugs that look tender but feel firm, the stability in his posture when he stands beside someone who needs support, these little moments reveal a strength that's not just physical, but rooted in loyalty and love. And then came the military era, where fans saw a new version of him emerging, shoulders broader, arms firmer, a maturity in his frame that feels earned through responsibility rather than pressure. But even there, even in uniform, even under strict physical demands, that signature Jimin grace never disappears. It blends with the new strength like a perfect balance between the Jimin we've always known and the Jimin he keeps becoming. ARMY placed him at number 6, not because he lacks muscles, absolutely not, but because his strength is the kind that sneaks up on you. It's subtle but deep, delicate but powerful, soft but unwavering, a strength that was never meant to intimidate, it was meant to inspire. And maybe that's why he holds a special place in this ranking, because his body is more than muscle. It's a diary of his journey, a testament to resilience, and a reminder that real strength doesn't always roar sometimes, it dances. Number 5. Jin. The worldwide shoulders of a true survivor. Before we even begin, let's get one thing straight. Jin landing in this position has nothing to do with lack of physical strength. If anything, his body might be one of the most emotionally charged transformations in the entire group. Jin's physique isn't just about muscle mass or tone, it's about endurance, maturity, and a journey from someone who used to be seen as the visual to someone who built a body that represents responsibility, resilience, and quiet determination. For years, ARMY joked about his worldwide shoulders, but behind the humor lies something very real. Jin has one of the most naturally strong frames in BTS. Broad shoulders, long limbs, a sturdy build, and a balanced proportion that could easily fit into the profile of an athlete. But what makes Jin's muscles so fascinating isn't just genetics, it's the way he transformed them through time, pressure, hardship, and growth. In the early years, Jin was often overlooked in discussions about physique simply because he wasn't the type to show off. He never tried to flash abs or flex on camera, even though the structure was already there. His body was quietly strong, quietly stable, quietly dependable, much like the role he played within the group. While others experimented with intense bulking or extreme dieting for performances, Jin trained slowly, consistently, and healthfully. His strength came from sustainability, not intensity. But things changed when he began taking fitness more personally. He started developing his upper body, working his chest and shoulders until they became one of his most defining physical features. Suddenly, clips of him picking up members like they were weightless, or carrying heavy equipment without complaint, or doing push-ups with perfect form, made fans realize that Jin was hiding a powerhouse behind that gentle smile. And then came the military service, the chapter that completely flipped the narrative. Jin didn't just survive the military, he thrived. His physique hardened, tightened, and matured into something undeniably commanding. The first time military photos surfaced, Army collectively gasped. His shoulders somehow looked even broader, his posture stronger, his arms more defined, and his entire aura felt like it had shifted from worldwide handsome to worldwide protector. There was a groundedness in him, a dependable solidity that wasn't just physical but deeply emotional. You could see the discipline in his frame. The early wake-ups, the rigorous training, the repetitive drills, the cold mornings, the weight of leadership he often carried in silence. Jin's muscles became symbolic, not just strength but responsibility, not just build but brotherhood, not just body but bravery. And perhaps what makes him so special in this ranking is the contrast between who he appears to be and what he actually carries inside. People see his warm personality, his dad jokes, his softness, and assume he's fragile or delicate. But Army knows better. Jin is the kind of strong that doesn't try to show itself. The kind of strong that steps forward during risks, that protects silently, that endures pain without complaint, that works hard without needing credit. Even his posture tells a story. A slight lift of the chest, squared shoulders, controlled breathing, the stance of someone who knows how to withstand pressure. And emotionally, his physique reflects his journey of growth. You can trace his maturity through the changes in his body, from the soft, boyish look of debut days to the toned, confident man who returned from military service looking like a protector who had weathered storms and come back stronger. Army placed Jin at number 5, not because he lacks anything, but because his strength occupies a very different wavelength. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply grounded, dependable, and undeniably admirable. His body is not built for spotlight, it's built for support. It's the kind of strength that reminds you of home's steady, comforting, unshakable. And sometimes, that's the strongest kind of all. Number 4. RM, the scholar with a warrior's frame. If there is one member whose physique feels like a paradox in the most fascinating way possible, it's RM. At first glance, most people know him as the brain of the group, the leader with monstrous IQ, the calm strategist, the poetic thinker who can break your heart with a sentence. But if you've been in Army long enough, you know there's another layer that the public always underestimates until they see it. RM's body has the presence of someone who could walk out of a comic book panel. Broad shoulders, thick arms, a chest built like a wall, and legs that show years of squats, climbing, biking, and lifting. RM has a physique that blends raw power with unexpected warmth, like a gentle giant who could lift you with one arm but would apologize before doing it. His muscles tell a story of natural talent meeting intentional discipline. Even before he started lifting seriously, RM already had a strong bone structure, a wide upper body, naturally defined shoulders, and a frame that hinted at athletic potential he didn't fully explore until later in BTS's career. And when he finally did lean into fitness, when he started working out regularly, biking insane distances, hiking mountains like it was nothing, and hitting the gym with consistency, that potential exploded into reality. Suddenly, Army wasn't just talking about his brain anymore. They were talking about how impossibly broad he looked in a simple hoodie, how his shirts stretched across his shoulders like they were begging for mercy, how his chest expanded with each deep breath he took during concerts, how his arms, once slim and soft, now looked like they were carved with intention, maturity, and effort. But what makes RM's physique so compelling isn't just the results, it's the reason behind it. He has always been open about struggling with his identity, about wrestling with expectations, about feeling pressure as the leader. In many ways, working out became therapy for him. Muscles became milestones of self-care. Fitness became a way to quiet the noise in his mind. You can feel this emotional depth in the way he talks about exercise, not as a performance, not as a way to impress fans, but as a grounding ritual that brings him peace. That's why his body carries a warmth rather than intimidation. It feels like the physical manifestation of someone who rebuilt himself slowly, piece by piece, day by day. His transformation is subtle in its timing but dramatic in its impact. Soft youth replaced by sculpted adulthood, gentle curves replaced by clean lines of toned muscle, uncertainty replaced by the steady presence of someone who knows exactly who he has become. And then came the military, where RM's physical form seemed to settle into its final phase, disciplined, powerful, unmistakably masculine. Photos of him in uniform spread like wildfire, the tight fit of the sleeves barely containing his biceps, the squared shoulders standing like a fortress, the confident stance of a man who has grown into his own strength. He looked like someone who could command a room without speaking, not because he tries, but because his presence is naturally grounded and commanding. Army ranked RM at number 4, not because he lacks muscle compared to the top 3, but because his strength sits at the intersection of physical and intellectual power. His body is the kind of build that makes you pause, not flashy like Jungkook's, not explosive like J-Hope's, not dancer elegant like Jimin's, not wide and dependable like Jin's, but something entirely its own. Solid, stable, deeply human. RM's charisma doesn't come from flexing, it comes from existing, and maybe that's why fans admire his physique so much. It represents balance, the harmony between mind and body, thought and action, softness and strength. The kind of body that wasn't built for attention, but for a better life, for a healthier self, for a quieter heart. And somehow, that makes it one of the most powerful of all. Number 3, Suga, the silent power hidden beneath the calm. If there is one placement that always shocks non-fans but never shocks ARMY, it's this one. Suga, Min Yoongi, the man known for his quiet demeanor, his soft voice, his love for oversized sweaters, and his preference for staying out of the spotlight when he's not performing, ranks shockingly high when it comes to pure physical strength and muscle definition. And the reason is simple. Yoongi's body is the biggest plot twist in BTS. Because when he finally does reveal even a glimpse of his physique, it sends ARMY into a meltdown every single time. Suga is not the type to chase attention. He's not the type to lift his shirt for fan service, or show off his arms unless the weather forces him to. But that's exactly why his muscles feel so unexpected, so intense, so unforgettable. You don't see them often, but when you do, suddenly you understand why his ranking is this high. His build is compact and powerful. His shoulders, though not as broad as RM's or Jin's, are incredibly defined, round, and toned from years of performing fast, sharp choreography despite multiple injuries. His arms, especially in the later eras, became surprisingly muscular, not in a bulky bodybuilder way, but in a firm, dense, unmistakably strong way that comes from disciplined conditioning. His chest, once hidden beneath layers of hoodies, revealed itself during concerts and military photos as far more sculpted than fans expected. Even his legs, often praised by dancers for their stability, are the kind of toned that only comes from years of carrying weight, both physical and emotional, with minimal complaint. But Yoongi's physical strength isn't just about how he looks. It's about what he's been through. He's had shoulder injuries, ligament issues, back pain, and surgeries that would make most people avoid intense movement forever. But he didn't quit. He rebuilt himself slowly, quietly, carefully, and the muscle he gained came from that process of healing. That's why Yoongi's body feels different from the others. It's not the product of traditional gym culture. It's the product of survival, of choosing to keep performing despite pain, of fighting through physical limitations, of training in ways that protected his joints while still building strength. And it's also the product of discipline, the kind that happens at 3 a.m. in empty studios where he practices until the pain fades into numbness, the kind that comes from focusing his mind so deeply that his body follows. Then came the military chapter, where Yoongi's physique matured even further. Fans had always joked that he hid his muscles under baggy clothes, but the moment he appeared in uniform, those jokes turned into shocked silence. His body looked different, firmer, stronger, more structured. His posture changed, his shoulders sat broader, his movements carried weight, his presence felt multiplied. This wasn't just Suga from BTS. This was Min Yoongi, a man who carried discipline like armor, who moved with the confidence of someone who rebuilt himself piece by piece. What makes Yoongi's muscles so captivating is the contradiction. He looks soft, but he's built. He seems calm, but he's tough. He doesn't brag, but he works harder than he admits. His strength isn't loud, it's deeply personal. Army ranked him at number 3, not just because he has impressive muscle development, but because his physique represents perseverance. He is the embodiment of quiet strength, the kind you don't see until the moment it becomes undeniable. And maybe that's why fans hold his physical transformation so close to their hearts. Because Yoongi didn't build his body for admiration, he built it so he could continue doing what he loves. And in that choice, his muscles became symbolic. Proof of grit, proof of resilience, proof that even the calmest, gentlest person can carry more power than meets the eye. When Yoongi finally reveals his strength, it feels like discovering a hidden chapter in a book you thought you knew by heart. Surprising, thrilling, and somehow deeply emotional. And that, more than anything, is why he deserves this spot. Number 2, Taehyung. The sculpted mystery wrapped in elegance. There are many ways to describe Kim Taehyung, artist: enigma, visual legend, unpredictable genius, walking contradiction, living aesthetic. But one thing that ARMY collectively agrees on is this: his body is one of the most quietly breathtaking builds in BTS. The twist? Most people don't even notice at first. They get distracted by the face, the aura, the voice, the attitude, the stare that feels like it can read your soul in 1 second, the way he moves like he's both royalty and a rebel. But once you do notice the physique behind all of that, it's over. You never see him the same again. Taehyung's muscles are not the flashy, hard-cut kind that scream for attention. They're the perfectly placed, naturally shaped, effortlessly aesthetic kind that make people look twice without knowing why. Everything about his build looks like it was designed by a director who wanted the most cinematic body possible. His broad shoulders balance with his narrow waist in a way that creates a classic V-line shape without exaggeration. His long torso gives him model proportions, turning even the simplest t-shirt into runway material. The subtle definition in his arms and chest shows just enough tone to look powerful yet refined. He is, in many ways, the perfect blend of gentleness and masculinity. Not too sharp, not too soft, but something that feels harmonized, intentional, and naturally captivating. But what makes Taehyung's physique so special isn't just how he looks, it's how he moves. His muscles follow the rhythm of his personality. Slow, controlled, sensual, artistic, deliberate. When he dances, it's not about power, it's about aesthetic storytelling. He uses his body like a brush, painting emotion with every turn of his shoulder, every arch of his back, every roll of his neck. His strength shows not in force, but in fluid control, the kind of control that requires a deep, stable core and strong, coordinated muscle engagement that most people underestimate. And then there are the hidden moments, the behind-the-scenes clips, where his shirt lifts and you glimpse the surprisingly defined lines across his abdomen, the gym photos that show toned arms that look stronger than people expect, the military images where his posture suddenly looked firmer, broader, matured. That's the thing about Taehyung. His muscles appear like secrets. You don't get them often, but when you do, they hit harder than 1,000 gym selfies. His physique also carries emotional weight. Taehyung's relationship with his body has always been deeply human. He's introspective, sensitive, sometimes self-critical, sometimes unsure of his own image, despite being one of the most praised visuals in the world. His muscles reflect that journey of self-acceptance, not built through obsession or insecurity, but through gradual growth, healthier habits, and a desire to feel good rather than impress others. The military chapter solidified everything fans already knew. Taehyung, with his natural lines and model proportions, suddenly stood in uniform, looking like the main character of a war movie. His shoulders were broader, his arms subtly toned, his movements more grounded. His physique wasn't just beautiful anymore, it was strong, stable, mature. It carried responsibility and adulthood without losing the softness that makes him Taehyung. And ARMY noticed. Quickly. Because Taehyung's body has always been the kind of beauty that doesn't rely on intensity, it relies on presence. He doesn't need to flex. He doesn't need to show skin. He doesn't need to try. He simply stands there, and his silhouette alone commands attention. His strength lies in the perfect balance between masculine structure and artistic elegance. And that balance is rare enough to place him at number 2. But the emotional core behind this ranking is deeper than aesthetics. Fans love Taehyung's physique because it reflects who he is. A gentle soul with quiet power, an artist with a warrior's frame, a serene presence built on hidden strength. His muscles don't shout, they whisper. They reveal themselves only when needed. They hold stories in the space between each breath he takes on stage. And in that way, Taehyung's body is not just strong, it's poetic. ARMY ranked him here because he embodies the kind of beauty that doesn't fade, the kind of strength that feels effortless, the kind of presence that stays imprinted in your mind long after he walks away. When Taehyung moves, everything about him becomes art, including the muscles he never brags about. Number 1, Jungkook, the golden muscles of a relentless performer. There was never any real doubt about who would take the crown, even among casual listeners, even among people who don't know BTS well. Even among those who only stumble across him by accident on the internet, Jungkook's physique has become something of a global phenomenon. Not because he flaunts it, not because it's hyped artificially, but because it is the physical embodiment of discipline, passion, natural talent, and sheer unstoppable drive. Jungkook isn't just muscular, he is built with purpose. From the earliest years of BTS, he was already athletic, already strong, already carrying that naturally broad chest and powerful thighs that made fans do double takes. But what's wild is that even then, even as a teenager, he had no idea how impressive he already looked. He was simply doing what he loved. Dancing hard, training harder, copying G-Dragon moves, practicing until sweat dripped off the mirrors, playing sports, boxing, running, lifting, all without realizing that he was sculpting the foundation of what would become the most iconic physique in K-pop. As the years went on, Jungkook didn't just grow older, he evolved, and ARMY watched it happen in real time. His shoulders widened. His arms became thicker, stronger, more defined. His chest expanded and built that signature fullness that no camera angle could ever hide. His waist stayed tapered, giving him one of the most striking V-shaped silhouettes in the industry. His thighs, already legendary, transformed from strong dancer legs into Olympic sprinter energy. Full of explosive muscle built from years of choreography, cardio, and strength training blended together. His back, often hidden beneath shirts, occasionally showed itself in flashes that sent the entire fandom into collective cardiac arrest. Thick, sculpted, athletic, powerful enough to lift someone with ease, yet flexible enough to move like water on stage. But the beauty of Jungkook's physique is not in the aesthetics alone, it's in the story. Jungkook works out not to show off, but to improve. He has always been driven by this desire to master everything he touches, whether it's vocals, dance, boxing, filmmaking, cooking, or fitness. And once he decides he wants to excel at something, he pours his entire soul into it. That's why his muscles don't look like they belong to a celebrity trying to look good, they look like they belong to an athlete, someone who trains because it is who they are, someone who doesn't know how to go halfway, someone who pushes until they collapse, then stands up again with that little smile that says, "I can do better." His workout habits became part of ARMY legend. The late-night boxing sessions where his punches looked like they could shatter concrete. The gym clips where his form was so clean it made trainers nod in approval. The live streams where fans heard the faint clink of weights in the background. The way he'd casually lift his shirt after a performance, not to tease, but because he was hot and sweaty and suddenly the internet was on fire. And then the military era came, and Jungkook somehow leveled up again. Military training didn't just suit him, it transformed him. The already sculpted muscles grew denser, sharper, more mature. His arms became bigger, his chest fuller, his shoulders broader. His posture became more grounded, more commanding. He looked like a warrior polished by discipline, someone who was already strong but became unstoppable. Fans weren't prepared, even officers weren't prepared. Photos leaked, stories spread, and suddenly Jungkook wasn't just the muscular member of BTS, he was the one soldiers talked about, the one instructors praised, the one whose physical ability was so impressive that it became whispered, legend. But what truly makes Jungkook, number one, isn't the abs, the chest, the arms, the thighs, or the overall insane level of muscle definition. It's the energy behind the body. Jungkook's physique feels alive with passion. You can feel his spirit in his strength. You can sense his determination in every line of muscle he built with his own hands. His body tells the story of someone who refuses to settle, who refuses to stagnate, who refuses to give anything less than everything. And ARMY feels that. ARMY honors that. ARMY ranks him at the top, not because he's the most muscular, although he probably is, but because his body symbolizes the extraordinary lengths he goes to in order to excel, improve, evolve. Jungkook is the golden maknae, not because he's good at everything, but because he works closer to perfection than anyone realizes. His muscles are just the visible proof. And so here he stands at number 1, a living masterpiece of talent, effort, and relentless passion. A body built not for attention, but for greatness. A strength that shines because it comes from the inside first. Jungkook isn't just the strongest physically, he is the strongest in spirit. And that's why he takes the crown naturally, undeniably, absolutely.